Hello viewers, I want to welcome you to the show Aflo Our Power, an initiative of Flames House Foundation. Aflo Our Power is a show initiated to educate a girl child as regarding our menstrual flow, raise awareness about period poverty, because I must tell you, a lot of girls stay out of school due to not being financially buoyant enough to get a pad. We'll be sharing real life stories of underprivileged girls. I have with me in the studio today the man behind the vision, Flames House Foundation. Join me as we make welcome Dr. Samuel Eseche. You're welcome, sir. We've heard a lot about Flames House Foundation. We're very much aware of distributions of pads that has been made across schools in different states. I really want to know what brought about this initiative. We are aware that WHO distributes Gold Cycle every now and then, which I'm not against, as they are creating an awareness to prevent, transmitted diseases and all of that. Majorly, it's adults that make use of these things, and as an adult, they should have, financial capability or capacity to purchase this. But it's somehow alarming knowing that there is no much concentration as regarding the girl child, because now in our recent time, you see girls from age 9, age 8, they've started menstruating. And a child at age 8 or age 9 does not have the financial capacity or capability to actually purchase a pad. And if we are to compare the prices of this, these two items, if I'm correct, the Gold Cycle goes for 300 or thereabout. But right now, for a girl child to have a pad, you will be looking at 1,000 naira plus or 800 or thereabout. So that they won't cry, it bleeds every 21 days. And not all the girl child are privileged enough to have access to pad. This particular initiative of Flames House Foundation, I find it quite intriguing, quite interesting, and I just wanted you to just throw more light on what brought about, because I believe that there must be something that brought about this this idea that took your attention to this part and what inspired this. So I would like you to throw more light, inform us, sir.
All right. Like I said, it's very important to talk about the girl child. They are special people from God, and we should give attention to them from the credo. A lot of girl child today, from the World Index, they absent themselves from school due to the fact that they are suffering from what we call period poverty. We call it period poverty because not every one of them, are able to afford sanitary pad. While I was growing up, I happened to come from a family where we have about 5 girls and just 3 boys. And some years back, over 35 years ago, my elder sister called me and said to me, please give me mommy's wrapper, the one she was no longer using. And I brought it to her, and she asked for scissors. So I provided the scissors, and she slit the wrapper. But about 8 hours later, I saw the shredded wrapper inside a bucket, and it was soaked with blood. So I felt touched, thinking that she got injured. So I had to help her wash the little pieces and sun dry them. It happened over and over, but I couldn't fathom why the blood on the wrapper was slitted. And when I began to grow, one day she sent me and said, please go help me get Betty tissue. That was what was really there. Go help me get Betty tissue, which I bought for her. And so big a tissue, but after like a day, you'll be looking for the tissue you just bought, which is supposed to be for everybody. I still didn't know what it was used for, until I think early 93, 94, where Always company started sharing, pads in school. So I became curious and now a bit aware. So I started asking questions. That was why I knew that they were saying their monthly menstrual flow, and that got my attention. Why should anybody be using a rag? It's not hygienic enough, and even the Betty tissue then has little. It looks like dust, which I feel is not healthy, for the genital organ and all that. So I went into my research to, my amazement. Find out that about 40 to 50% in certain quarters, girl child stay out of school during their menstrual flow. Further research also showed that there is stigmatization. A lot of these children are stigmatized. In certain quarters, some unaware parents had beaten their children for a natural occurrence, and in some cases, some of these children, because of poor education, met with the wrong people who eventually got them pregnant, and that took them out from school. So a whole lot of these things have been in my mind. So when God gave me the opportunity, I decided to initiate a foundation that would advocate for the girl child and also be able to see ways of giving out to girl child. And this we've done for some years now. I go to schools, I buy sanitary pads in cartons, in millions, and I share to girls in school. And the times I did it, I could see the smile on their faces. I could see the joy, the happiness. And we don't just share sanitary pad. Also, we call on healthcare personnel who educate them on the hygiene during their cycle. And from my research, I saw that a lot of schools do not have facilities whereby they will have emergency distribution of sanitary pads, or we could have a sanitary pad as part of first aid to give to children who maybe could not calculate and met them in school. I could remember while I was in GSS1, there was a friend of mine called Queen. We sat together, and when she stood up, I saw blood stain. When I saw the blood stain, I was paid. I didn't know it was period. So I took a white what's it called, cardigan, and tied it around her waist, and that was a blow. When I tied the white cardigan on her, before you knew it, the white cardigan was soaked. And that was traumatic to that young lady who stayed out from school for like a term. She couldn't go to school because she felt embarrassed. It took the grace of God for her to come back to school. So this is just a prelude on why we started this initiative, because these little girls, they can afford sanitary pad. The young guys who want to go into sexual activities, they understand that a lot of campaign has been done, and awareness on sexually transmitted diseases. If you want to engage yourself in illicit relationship, or you want to have protections in during your sexual intercourse, you could buy your good cycle or whatever. But you see, for these girls, they don't have a choice. It's something that is nature, and so they must have it monthly. And they have different body makeup. Some start early, maybe 9 or 10, 11, and in some cases, these little children also experience, from my research, heavy flow, which they may not also have control over. I've done my research to see that people use tissue, people use rag, people use block. They insert block in their vagina, and I've also made a research to see that some people use plantain leaves. I don't know how they achieve that. Yes, I made a research and I saw that they use leaves. And so the one that is so clear to me is people using used newspaper.
Wow.
Yeah, they use newspaper. They squeeze it and they use it as a blockage to their monthly period. It's so alarming to hear such, and government is not paying attention to this. And this one is done every year. And we know that when a lady start having a cycle, it would last for another 30, 35, to 45 early menopause before they stop. So you just imagine, somebody having a menstrual flow on a monthly basis, and she doesn't have it.
And I also learned that some ladies do measure it for like 7 days, if I'm not exaggerating.
Well, the normal cycle is within 4 to 5 days, and when they start getting beyond 5 days to 6, 7 days, there could be a hormonal imbalance. I'm not a medical doctor, but I think I've done a bit of research. Once it exceeds 7 days to 8 days, 9 days, there's already a sign that you need to go check your doctor.
Okay, thank you very much for that powerful insight. Well, how long has this foundation been in existence?
Yeah.
What year did this start, and
what
level?
The foundation actually has been on ground now for a period of 10 years. That's a decade. Wow. I started it on a personal note, and when we saw that a lot of people had challenges, we didn't have to close our eyes in that regard, and it's quite demanding because you have to buy. We've even gone to a point where we started making research to know if we can adopt a reusable pad. Just that there is a limit to which you can educate some of our children, because if they don't know how to make use of this reusable pad, it could also lead to some kind of infection. So the safest is to use the disposable pad until we are able to have a more permanent solution. But we've been doing it for like 10 years now.
Very powerful one. With all these wonderful works, as you have stated. How do you, financially, how are you being able to achieve these things?
Well, you see, it's a vision. When you focus on a vision, you look for ways to rally around people who have interest in your vision and tell them about what you have in mind. Before now, I used to spend my money, and it was quite demanding. So I had to reach out to some of my friends who also said to me that they have in mind to do this kind of thing, but they do not want to run a foundation. But since it's something I'm passionate about, and I already have an existing foundation that borders around the girl child, that time to time they would give their support. However, they are not consistent in giving to this cause because of the high demand of the part. We stretch beyond our limit. So sometimes we are not able to do what we're supposed to do. It's supposed to be something we do on a monthly basis. However, because of the demanding nature of the supply, because it's something that is regular, we needed to adopt few schools so that we are able to always reach out to them. We'll be very, very happy if we get more people on board to join us in this worthy exercise, so that we can be able to continue on a monthly basis to reach out to the girl child. I've been able to discuss with some companies, for instance, Zena and Part. They have a very nice part. We've patronized them, most of the time, and we want to see that we're able to partner with this company when we have there's a level to which you buy where you can begin to enjoy subsidization, So, but we've not been able to get to that point to get that high subsidy in the purchase of the sanitary pad. So I'm calling on the general public, if you are led, moved, touched by what these young girls are going through, you can reach out to us to say you want to be part of this distribution of a sanitary pad. Mostly now they are holidays. Before they resume, we always do pad again a child going back to school. So we'd like to have you on board.
I'm aware of the ongoing campaign, Operation Pad a Girl Child. As you have heard from the visionary, Dr. Samuel Eseche, we want to use this medium to invite you to join in the ongoing campaign, Operation Pad a Girl. You can come in, subscribe to this, and use your resources to pad a generation. Details are being displayed on your screen, so ensure to subscribe to this great vision and this ongoing campaign, Operation Pad a Girl Child. I see God blessing you and using you greatly for these young girls. They are yet devastating stories that you need to hear, experiences that these young girls go through on a monthly basis. In fact, I have my own experience personally, but this particular episode is not for storytelling. On our next episode, we will be bringing in, stories, real-time stories of girls, experiences they had during their first flu. And I will advise you to get your tissue paper or your handkerchief, to wipe your tears, because some of these stories are going to make you shed tears. I would like to say a very big thank you to you, Dr. Samuel Eseche.
Oh, thank you. It's been a lovely time having this conversation with you.
Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned on the show Our Flow, Our Power.